Welcome to Scary Stories. We've got a brand new story from Reddit that sure sounds like a dogman or werewolf sighting to me, and that starts at that time shown on screen. But first, let's dive into this other all-new, allegedly true narrative sent into us anonymously, which he alternatively titles Dogman on the Rooftop, or Dogman Rules Suburbia. Dear Scary Stories NYC, I got a story for you if you want to hear about Dogman. I mean, it might be about werewolves, I can't rule that out. This does happen in suburbia, so werewolves might be more logical a solution. The fact is, I've never seen any of them wearing clothes or necklaces or anything to indicate that they might have culture like humans. They just appear to be animals who are shaped somewhat like human beings. I'm going to call them Dogman in this, but if it turns out there's something else, I'll be happy to admit my mistake. But to me, that's what they look like. Dogmen. Now, I don't think I've seen any females, and I know I haven't seen any children. The adult males of this species are very big compared to me, and I'm 6 feet tall. I can't tell you exactly how tall I think they are, though, because I've never actually seen one standing down here on the ground next to me. The only reason I ever noticed them in the first place is because I love to stare up at the clouds when I walk down the street. No, I'm not saying the dogman can fly. I'm trying to tell you that these dogmen seem to prefer the catbird seat. The ones I've seen out here in suburbia, I've only seen on rooftops and other spots high up off the ground. I can tell that they're big, and I can see how incredibly muscular they are, but it's hard to tell if I mean tall like 7 feet tall or if I mean 12 feet tall. So I used to live in the big city, but I got fired for refusing to be medically experimented on, and I had to move back in with my mother out in the suburbs. I'd say where, but we're part of a coalition of neighbors trying to sell our homes now, before everyone else discovers what we already know, that the dogmen have already infested this neighborhood, and it's only a matter of time before pets or even human beings start to suffer as a consequence of the proximity of these bear-sized bipedal monsters. But we don't want to draw the attention of the public to this problem until we have either driven out the dogmen or found buyers for our homes. I apologize if that sounds selfish, but my family has little else but this house, and once it is known that the dogmen live here, we won't be able to get a single dime for this place. We have no choice but to keep quiet about this for now. I mean, if you got a free house for my mother and I to live in, maybe I'll tell you where this is happening. But short of that, we need to stay in survival mode until we're well past this. So, when I first got back out here to the burbs, I sat on my laptop answering surveys for a penny and things like that during the day, applying for work-at-home jobs and feeling pretty down about everything. It was hard to sleep at night, so I started going for jogs at dawn, which soon became jogs an hour before dawn, and then jogs in the middle of the night. If I couldn't get sleep, at least I could get some exercise and fresh air in. I was pretty out of shape when I started, not that I got in much better shape afterward. Much of the time I would jog until I felt exhausted, then have to walk slowly home, sometimes taking breaks to lean against a wall and just keep my lungs breathing. So I had a number of moments when I was too winded to do anything but lean against a tree or whatever else was there and gasp for air until I felt like continuing. During those moments, I'd just sort of look around at things since there wasn't anything else I could do for entertainment while my heart and lungs came back to normal. I think I mentioned earlier that I am prone to look up at the sky when I walk down the street, but I never did that when I was jogging. I guess I just wanted to watch where I was going so I didn't trip or something. However, I started looking up more and more in my morning jogs because I kept seeing such interesting things up there. The first time I saw a dogman in real life, I thought I was looking at a gargoyle up on top of a flat-topped building. It remained perfectly still for quite some time, staring off into the distance, and I stopped walking to look up at this thing. There was no matching gargoyle on the other side of the roof, so It just looked odd to me. Plus, there was no other kind of statuary or carving on the outside of the place, so it didn't fit in with the look. I began to think that maybe it was a more modern type of artwork placed up on the roof more recently, and that maybe it was supposed to look the way it did. Like a trompe l'oeil kind of thing, if you know what I'm talking about. A deliberate optical illusion. I decided to bring my camera with a telephoto lens with me the next morning, but the statue wasn't there that day. It was completely missing. A week or two later, on a day when I had no camera with me, I thought I saw the gargoyle again, but on a different rooftop. As I got closer though, I saw it walk away from my view, and I almost fainted. That thing was not a human, and it was not a gargoyle. It was some kind of a monster, and it was alive. I imagined I had seen an actual gargoyle, so it must have had wings that I couldn't see. I assumed the wings were folded up and out of my view during each of these sightings. It wasn't until the first time I saw one of these beasts up on an angled, tiled roof that I understood fully that what I was seeing was either a werewolf or a dogman. Each of my initial sightings were of a man-like creature on a flat roof, but there came a morning where I saw one of the creatures up on its hind legs, balancing on a roof that angled downward as it stared off toward the horizon. It looked both like a man and like a dog, each in different ways. It didn't look like a man in a costume, though, because the legs were all wrong, and nothing a big man could fit his feet into. It didn't look like a dog exactly either, though, because, well, for one thing, the chest was too broad, and the arms too thick and muscular. Its paws looked more like hands, or at least the front ones did. He stood very still, but he was swaying slightly. The wind appeared somewhat strong up there, as I could see his longer fur ruffling as the breeze hit it. I walked closer to see better and learn more details about whatever that was, but the creature began walking along the top edge of the roof, eventually crossing over to the other side and out of my view. While he walked, a few of the tiles became loosened, and one of them slid down the roof and landed in front of me. For some reason I ran over and picked it up. I don't know why. Maybe I was expecting it to be different in some way, but it was just a roof tile. I guess I held it because it was some kind of proof that what I had seen really existed outside of my mind, you know? I wasn't sure if I had imagined seeing that monster, but I hadn't imagined that the tile fell to the ground. I stared at it, and I guess I was trying to convince myself that this was all really happening. I started carrying my cell phone with me in the mornings after that, hoping to get even a blurry image of one of these dogmen to show other people. I mean, I guess I wanted to see it myself, just to know that the camera could also see what I was seeing. Anyway, when I had my phone with me, the creature would never be around. One day I was jogging looking up, when I tripped over a stray dog that had run out in front of me, and I went flying, scratching up my cheek in both hands. No broken bones or teeth or anything though, just a lot of short-term pain and some hurt pride. I hoped nobody was looking out their windows at me when I took that pratfall. I got up and I stretched for a while. Then I decided to try to run a little further, just to see how I was feeling. Well, don't you know that 1 block later I saw a dogman? Well, actually I heard him first, running along and jumping from the roof of one house to another. He seemed to be in quite a rush, and I soon saw why. He was being pursued by another large humanoid canine, and that one was growling loudly enough that I could hear it from where I was standing. I reached into my pocket and grabbed for my cell phone, but it was not there. Panicked, I searched through all my pockets. I realized my phone was not with me. I could remember putting it in my jacket pocket before leaving, but it was not there when I needed it. Helplessly, I watched the 2 dogmen chase each other off away from me, and I never got even a crappy blurry photo of any of it. I started trudging back home, not feeling well enough to jog. When I got back to the spot where the dog had tripped me, something shiny caught my eye. It was light, glinting off the now broken glass of my cell phone. It must have fallen out of my pocket when I tripped. How ironic that I was relieved of my camera by a stray dog, seconds before I could have captured the most spectacular Dogman footage of all time. It was almost like that dog did what he did on purpose. But I know that's silly to even suggest. So I'm probably going to cut it off about there. I have some more information to add, but I'm going to save that for my book, which I hope to publish as soon as I've gotten myself and my mother into a new home outside of Dogman turf. I have had other sightings, and there are a group of us now actively trying to record or capture any kind of evidence at all, indicating that this beast is a genuine nuisance in current year Middle America. This is not something out of the Middle Ages. This is something happening here, and it's happening now. So I don't personally read Reddit, but this got forwarded to me by Marie, and I can see why she thought it might be interesting to me and to you guys too. I'm going to read it verbatim and run some images I created to illustrate it. I don't actually know what the creature or lady looked like, so I just had fun with it. I hope you enjoy this, and if you have any idea about how to explain what this guy actually experienced, we'd love to hear it in the comment section below. So let's jump into this Reddit entry from just last night, entitled, "My neighbor's dog talked to me." Okay, I swear I'm not crazy. Just hear me out, and know that I'm 100% serious, and hoping to find somebody who has had a similar occurrence. I got a new neighbor last week, but hadn't met her yet, because I've been working long hours from home, and I haven't left my house very often. I went for a walk today down the street, and she was taking her dog for a walk too. Her dog wasn't a dog though. He stood there like a human, and he talked to me as I talked to her. I tried to be normal and get to know my new neighbor for a minute, but he kept saying sarcastic things like, "She's my owner, mate. You better back off." And other snarky stuff like that. Weirdest thing was my neighbor didn't even hear him, and if she did, she showed no signs that she did. He just kept saying things to me like a person. I also caught him looking over my fence at me earlier. Has anybody ever experienced this before? That's the post. So what do you think? Was it a werewolf? A shaman? Was the guy hallucinating? What do you think happened there? Was he just making up a story to get a reaction? What exactly do you think went on? He says she was walking her dog, but it wasn't a dog, and it stood there next to her like a person. When it makes sarcastic comments to him, she doesn't seem to hear them. But he never explains if she seems to also be seeing the dog standing on two legs next to her or not. Is she seeing a four-legged creature, or is she seeing what he's seeing? We know she isn't hearing the same things as him, so I would like to know what she's seeing. Anyway, I thought you guys would find that interesting, so I'm passing it on. Special thanks to Marie, and now a special announcement from Bigfoot. Biggie? No matter what else you might have to say, I hope you say thank you to Angie K. Please join me in thanking Angie K for making this episode possible. Angie donated to us using our Super Thanks button located under each of our videos. With advertising rates so low all across the planet, it's getting near impossible to continue subsisting on YouTube, and donations like the one Angie made are really becoming our lifeblood. So thank you, Angie, and thanks for being such an active fan of the show as well. We really appreciate what you do. Angie did the channel a favor and is receiving our latest Secret Uncensored Dogman stories, of which we are putting out 2 this weekend. If you'd like to see them too, then you should listen to what this next little guy has to say. Hank. Thanks, Biggie, and thanks to all of you for watching this far. If you liked it, please click like. If you'd like to see more of our work, please subscribe. And also click that bell icon if you'd like to be notified when we put out a new episode. To become an executive producer, you can donate to us through the thanks button under each of our videos or through our paypal.me/PeterBernard209 page. To receive cool perks like secret uncensored Dogman episodes far too wild to ever run on this channel, you can become a YouTube channel member by clicking the join button, or join our PayPal subscribers club at peterbernard.com. Joining either at the $3 a month level or above gets you access to our over 25 hours of secret uncensored Dogman stories available nowhere else. Do you have a scary story about Dogman or some other kind of high strangeness that happened to you? Let us know by emailing us at scarystoriesnyc@gmail.com or by leaving us a voicemail message at 804-LA-SCARY. You may need to call back on that one. It cuts off after, I think, 3 minutes. And if you don't want to do any of that stuff, thank you for simply watching to the end. Good night, and have a scary tomorrow.
Come back for more scary stories.